Guys, could it be that Joel is the villain of The Last of Us? Okay, but what do you mean? Well, it turns out there's a really intense scene at the end of the story that made a lot of people kind of take a step back from Joel.
Jesus Christ, Joel.
But does what happened really make Joel a villain? I'm already letting you know that it's really not that simple. That's what we're going to be discussing in today's video, so stick with me.
That's all right. I believe it. No, wait!
Hey nerds, I am Breno, and if there's one thing that I think it's great about The Last of Us is that there are no heroes nor villains.
God damn.
And even so, many people began to label Joel as a villain because of a specific moment in the game. Now let's talk about it in this video. Of course, it goes without saying that this video will obviously contain spoilers for both the game and the TV series, okay? So you've been warned, alright? Don't come crying at me in the comments later, alright?
Yeah.
And also take this opportunity to subscribe to the channel. You know, I'm kind of new here, so please subscribe. Okay, so the moment I'm talking about here is at the very end of the first game. So what happens? Joel's goals throughout the first game is to get Ellie to the Fireflies. Consequently, this is also his objective in the series, you know, at least in the first season. That's because Ellie is immune to the cordyceps fungus infection, the only immune person that everyone knows. As such, that the Fireflies kind of hope to use her to try to reverse, the fungus and thus produce a cure. So the whole mission is about pretty much saving humanity. However, when they finally arrive at the Fireflies after like a lot of trouble, Marlene gave Joel some bad news. The thing is, to reverse the cordyceps inside Ellie, they would need to remove the bug from Ellie's body. And you think, okay, well, that's not bad. But the problem is that the cordyceps, guys, it lodges inside the brain of those infected. That is, to be able to generate this cure, they would need to kill Ellie. And Joel didn't like this news one bit. So what did he do? Well, he simply killed all the Fireflies that were there, including the doctors and Marlene herself, and left with Ellie. And when the girl woke up, he lied saying that the Fireflies couldn't produce the cure. He even made the fuss that Ellie wasn't the only person immune. And according to that lie, the Fireflies would have found more immune ones, but they couldn't produce a cure from any of them, so they gave up. And Ellie was kind of bummed about that. She didn't quite believe it, but decided to pretend that everything was fine. And then the two go to live with Tommy and Jackson, and the story of the first game ends. And that's pretty much it, guys. Joel killed the people who were trying to produce a cure for the fungus that was ravaging humanity. He prevented these guys from literally using the only immune person to generate a cure. Killed everyone and left. Screw humanity, right, Joel? Well, Joel wants Ellie for himself, and that's it. So obviously, Joel is the villain of the story, right? Well, guys, it's not that simple, As I mentioned earlier in the video, The Last of Us has no heroes nor villains. And that goes for Joel too. Okay, now let's analyze Joel for a second here. He's kind of a complex guy. He's closed, and full of trauma. First, because of Joel's wife, she abandoned him shortly after Sarah's birth, forcing Joel to be a single father, and handle everything alone. Then Joel lost his own daughter when Sarah was killed by the soldier at the beginning of this whole outbreak. You probably saw this sad scene, in the first episode of the series. Losing Sarah was very traumatic for Joel, as it would be for any other father. He broke after that. He lost part of his own humanity after her death. Then the fungus outbreak came and the whole world was in complete chaos. And to survive, Joel and also Tommy simply did what they thought was necessary to stay alive. And that means doing extremely bad things like killing innocent people, to steal their belongings, torturing people, and maybe even worse things. Joel wasn't a nice guy, and he never pretended to be. Okay, now listen to me. That doesn't make Joel a villain either, okay? Simply because in The Last of Us, everyone is like this. Literally everyone. That's Tommy, that's Tess, that's Marlene, that's everybody. Even Ellie gets that way after a while. Being ethical became like a second option, like after that whole outbreak, no one cared about being good or bad. Doesn't matter, you just have to be alive, you have to survive. Joel is not a bad guy, simply because in this world there's no good or bad, just surviving. But I'm not saying that he's the good guy either, right? As I said, it's just a complex subject. Now, what does it have to do with this scene, where he kills everyone, the Fireflies, just to save Ellie's life. Well, so that has a lot to do with the relationship he created with Ellie throughout the first game story, and also with Sarah. So that has a lot to do with the relationship he created with Ellie throughout the first game story, and also with Sarah. Turns out that after he lost Sarah, Joel kind of never opened his heart anymore to anyone again. He turned into a tough and bitter guy as life went on. There are few people like Tommy and Tess that he really cared about. Then he met Ellie, and what first started out as a simple escort mission turned into an entire relationship between the two of them. As their cross-country adventure continued, Joel kind of developed like a real fatherly feeling, you know, for Ellie. And that was kind of heavy on him. You know, Joel started to love Ellie like a daughter, like her own daughter. But he didn't want to get carried away by those feelings, simply out of fear of losing Ellie, you know, like he had lost Sarah. But after a while, the guy realized that there's no point in pretending that he didn't feel anything, you know, for Ellie. He embraced the responsibility and took Ellie to the Fireflies. Only then, they weren't traveling companions anymore or anything. They were practically father and daughter. Ellie accidentally rescued the humanity that Joel had lost, you know, when Sarah died. Then you arrive at the Fireflies and the guys tell you that your daughter has to die in order to save humanity. Now tell me, would you accept this just fine? Would you just take it? I don't think so. And Joel didn't accept it either. So what we saw there was not a villainous act, you know, or anything. Joel wasn't a villain. He was just a father making a selfish decision. Nothing justifies killing people, of course. But in the world of The Last of Us, running and hiding are barely an option. After all, Joel knew that if he left anyone there alive, they would go after Ellie. And that's why he killed everyone, including the doctors and Marlene herself. Okay, well the thing is, Joel is neither a hero nor a villain, okay? He's only a human. And humans make mistakes, alright? And they screw up a lot. Joel made a huge mess in that scene, but he did it because he didn't want to lose another daughter. He didn't want to lose another child, you know what I mean? Can you judge the guy for that? Please take the opportunity to comment on there because I'm a new channel, you know what I mean? So I'm probably gonna be reading all of them. Not probably, I will. And also subscribe, please click on this ball because, you know, it's free. You know, it's free and I'm new, so when you subscribe to this channel, it helps me so much, really, because the YouTube algorithm will get this channel and pass it out to everyone. And come on, I know you want everyone to see this video, right? You want to help me, right? Please? No? Yes, thank you so much for subscribing. Of course, I'll see you in the next video. I love you and goodbye.